In a move that's sure to send shockwaves through the Pentagon, US President Donald Trump on Friday announced he was firing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General C.Q. Brown, and shaking up a whopping 6 other high-ranking military positions. This decision marks a major overhaul of the US military leadership that's set to ripple across the armed forces. The removal of General C.Q. Brown, who's the second black officer to serve as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, follows closely on the heels of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's controversial remarks about reshaping the military. Trump took to social media platform Truth Social to announce that retired Lieutenant General Dan Caine, who's a former F-16 pilot and the CIA's former Associate Director of Military Affairs, would be stepping in to replace General Brown. Caine's resume is undeniably impressive, and his nomination signals Trump's commitment to reshaping military leadership with a fresh perspective. But it doesn't stop there. In a sweep of top-level changes, Trump also revealed plans to replace the head of the U.S. Navy, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, the Air Force Vice Chief of Staff, and the Judge Advocates General for all three branches of the military, which is the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force. Talk about a shakeup, huh? This massive reshuffling is already setting the stage for a period of upheaval at the Pentagon. Not only are the military leadership roles changing, but the department is bracing for civilian staff firings, a dramatic budget overhaul, and a shift in military deployments as Trump steers the US towards his America First foreign policy. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Pentagon's civilian leadership usually changes with each new administration, but the uniformed military officers are meant to stay above the political fray. They serve regardless of whether the White House is occupied by a Democrat or Republican. That's what makes these changes so unusual. General Brown, who was appointed to the role in October 2023 and was expected to serve through 2027, had a long and distinguished career, including serving as a fighter pilot. Trump, in his Truth Social post, offered praise for Brown's service, saying, "I want to thank General Charles C.Q. Brown for his over 40 years of service to our country, including as our current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's a fine gentleman and an outstanding leader, and I wish a great future for him and his family." Yet Trump didn't elaborate on the reasons for his decision or whether Brown would stay on until his successor is confirmed. It was reported way back in November that Trump was planning a major reshuffling of the military leadership, with Brown's firing being one of the most notable moves. It seems Trump's now Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has had a rocky history with Brown, questioning his appointment in his recent book. Hegseth even asked if Brown would have been selected for the role if he weren't black. Just 3 months earlier, in a November podcast interview on The Sean Ryan Show, Hegseth called for a purge of military leaders tied to diversity, equity, and inclusion, that is the DEI initiatives. Adding that any general or admiral associated with woke DEI efforts should be dismissed, Hegseth had declared, "First of all, you have got to fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs." Brown, who was the second black officer to ever become chairman of the Joint Chiefs, addressed these kind of challenges head-on in an emotional video after the 2020 killing of George Floyd. Interestingly, Brown was on official travel when Trump made his announcement. Just hours before the shakeup, Brown posted an image on social media platform X, meeting with US troops stationed at the northern border. Brown wrote, "Border security has always been critical to the defense of our homeland. As we navigate unprecedented security challenges, we will ensure our troops at the border have everything they need." Now, with these sweeping leadership changes, the Pentagon is bracing for a major shift in direction under Trump's new vision for the military. Whether this overhaul will bring the reforms the Trump administration seeks remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the landscape of US military leadership is in for a radical transformation. For more news on Donald Trump and updates on the United States, stay tuned to the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express.